So, pretty exciting day out here in the train shed in Newcastle Central. We now have all of the station platforms finished. So this is part 3 of building out these final station platforms at the back there. They're actually in 3 different pieces. We already had these first 2 done that I've worked on over the last few months, but now have all 3 of the primary parts of the station put together now, platform wise. So in part 1 of the video series we went over how I was putting together all of the paper templates and then the actual card station platforms themselves. In part 2 then looked at how I did the concrete tops and things like the concrete edging, the stonework. In this video, this final video, I'm going to look at how I do the kind of fiddly brick trim pieces that go on the underside of the platform lip, and then just kind of show how all of it comes together. So let's step in now and kind of go through how I do the final part of these station platform builds. Alright, so in the second video, which you link to up in the top corner right now, I went over kind of speed motion video clips of how I actually go ahead and put all these different concrete tops on. So it's just plain paper, printed out from Cleverly Models. So if you want to see exactly how I do that, go back and watch that second video. In this one, part 3, there's just this one section left to do, and it will be kind of repetitive even. I also think that there might be a little bit of swearing in this one, just because of the curve and kind of narrowness of this platform. I'm probably going to do a little bit of trim work as well if we come in close. It wasn't perfect, so I'm going to have to trim this up a little bit kind of as I go along. It is the right angle, it just needs a little bit of trim, so it's a little bit of a smoother finish before I start to put on the final stones. So I'll probably just do quick little clips as I go along once I get this top part done, once I then get the siding done, once I then get the actual kind of capstone edging done. Then really the main part to show that we didn't look at in part 1 or 2 was the final little brickwork edging. So I'll try and find an edge piece. So these are the edge pieces that just kind of sit in there, and there's one final part which is where that white line would be, those final brickwork. So I'll maybe focus a little bit more on that in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, probably is going to be some amount of swearing involved getting all this done, just because there's some awkward little sizes and angles that need to get done. Now we'll be back and see what it looks like when this top part's all done. That's all of the top concrete done on this final platform part. It really wasn't too bad, and it's actually added some amount of rigidity to it as well. It's not quite as flimsy when I'm picking it up. It is still a little bit, but with 2 hands it's not as bad. So I got a little awkward in here, but I think unless you're looking closely, it's not too bad when you kind of come back from a distance. It's not too bad as you would pan around. There's also going to be maybe some shops in along that back wall. This is a really open space here. I think the actual rail platform, rail station, kind of curves around a little bit as well, so I might put in some kind of offices over there. Kenai's kind of curious in the background there. Kenai! There he is. So onto doing these edging pieces now. I've got a bunch cut out. I've got another couple of sheets to do. And I'll just kind of glue in all the way around like that. Nothing too exciting. Again, part 2 video showed how all of those were glued in. So I'm going to cut out a whole bunch more and then start to glue all those in place. So this is now all of the edging stonework done. It took a lot longer than it did on the other ones. I don't know if it was just deceptive as to how much there actually was, or I was just going slow, I'm not sure. But it is all finally done. Okay, I'm not super thrilled with it. Again, I was having a hard time for whatever reason, so there's a couple of areas where it's not perfect. That's easy to fix. I did also then start on the brick trim, if we call it platform edging, underlay, or whatever. So I've got all this front side done, and so we've now got the rest, so all where those white lines are on the inside. That's what we're covering with this brick stuff. So that's what I'm going to show how to do. This is the part where I said was really kind of tedious. Essentially, you cut strips of the card this thickness, so it's, you know, a lot of very narrow cutting to try and do. Actually, this is the complete sheet as it comes from Scale Scene. So you cut out these parts for the card and the layer. This is then just the paper. You cut those out as well, and so what you end up with is lots and lots of strips like this, and you wrap that around. It goes around 90 degrees. There's a little bit of overhang, a little bit, but basically you're covering two sides. So you're covering the front side and then underneath. So the front and then underneath. And it's really the cutting all of this that is a really time-consuming part. Gluing is then really easy. You just turn one of these over, run over with a glue stick, wrap it around the card, glue on the back of the card, and then put along the edging. So this actually goes really quickly once you have all of the card pieces cut out, once you have all of these pieces cut out. So we'll do one of those quick motion videos just so we can see how some of those go together. But then I've got basically all the rest of the inside of these platforms to do, and then those first two platform pieces that we done in part 1 and 2, I've got to do all of the trim pieces for that as well. So I have an awful lot of cutting to do. So let's go ahead and look and see how we do it. So that's then just the first couple of lengths in. I did cut a few extra lengths of card. I'll probably need 4 or 5 to do that whole length. I think I had done 5. And just showing how you glue and wrap the paper and then glue the whole thing on. That's pretty much all there is to it. It's not that complicated. It's just then very tedious with cutting that card. Like I say, I've got feet, and I've got probably 25-30 feet of this to now go and do. So I'll finish up this one platform section here. Look at that once it's finished, and then I'll cut all the other lengths that we need for the other 2 pieces that are already out in the trench head. So that is now all of the rest of the inside edging done. Well, it comes across on the camera a little bit easier maybe down there. and all the way into the end of the station, and then the rest of that side that we had started all the way down there to the end. Over here, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do here. I'm leaving this exposed. There is no overhang, which is why I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do there. I might end up with a short retaining wall that goes in there instead, but for now, just so it doesn't show the white of where the trim should be, I put a piece on there, but that may not remain. So that's all of that done now. I'm very glad that that is now all finished. I'm going to cut up probably another 25 to 30 or so strips. Probably going to go with 30 strips, just that I've got plenty. I think that should be enough. I think I used 9 or 10 on this, so I figure I need at least 2.5 to 3 times that for the ones that I've already built. So I've got a whole bunch of cutting to do, and then we'll go out to the train shed and start to glue all of those ones down. So hopefully when we're back and kind of midway through that and can see all of this really now starting to look pretty finished. So this is now that third and final platform piece that we've been working on, all hanging out. I think it's the Class 101 that's parked up in front there. So yeah, very happy with how all of that now looks. It's got all of the trim work on. I think we looked at inside. So now that is kind of hanging out with the other one. It's got maybe a little bit of work where the join is there just to even it up, and I still need to figure out doing some additional supports under here just to kind of level that up. But you know, when you come back from a distance, you really can't tell, and you'd also have to remember that the platform canopy, and some people have been asking how this is going to go, and I'm not entirely sure yet, because now that I see the real Newcastle Central has the curved canopy, I think would come out somewhere like that, and then somewhere like that, and then these parts of the platform are open and exposed, and they have just the smaller individual canopies. This side ended up just size-wise, where in real life this platform extends quite a long way further down compared to here. This is actually much longer than it needs to be, and so now that I'm seeing it, if we come in, this was designed for 3-car DMU. Certainly these ones on the south side of the station are designed for 3-car DMUs. I wanted to make this long enough that you could put a 3-car DMU in. Back in the late 80s, this platform here did still exist. I think I'm calling this platform 0, because this is actually platform 1, I believe, in the real Newcastle station, this near side platform in the modern day, I guess. What I'm calling platform 0 no longer exists. Basically they took out all of this and have made it one big car park where all my mess is. So now that I'm seeing this in place, what I might do is cut this about here and take out 8 to 10 inches or so. So cut around about here, so the exterior station wall would come here. That would mean that the curved platform would come, the curved canopy, main canopy would come here, and then would kind of work its way over like that. And that makes a little bit more sense, that you would then have some exposed platform here. Platform 1 in here can still then take a 3-car DMU and would be largely covered. But that's a little bit down the road. This would be really easy to trim if that's what I decide to do. I'm going to think about that one just a little bit. But anyway, I have a stack of these, the 30, I think I did 30, that were all cut and glued. It's gotten pretty late. It took me almost 2 hours to cut and glue all of those. And actually, now that I'm out here, I probably didn't quite need that many iron on. We'll see. But now I've got to put in those trim pieces around here, and then behind this this HST as well, all the way down there, all 7+ feet of it, and then coming in front of that 101, and then up. So I do have a little bit more to do. I'm going to leave that for tomorrow evening, but at least for now, I'm quite happy with how this is looking. You have to get them pretty close to realize that those extra brickwork pieces aren't there, but I do want to get this done just so that I can check this off and say that I'm finished. I also then have a little bit of repair work to do. You can see some of that's coming away on the near side. Need to just glue those down and then put clear coat of varnish over all of these as well, and then that will be it. That will be pretty much done. So I'm going to come back at this probably tomorrow night, finish this off. Hopefully it'll only take an hour or so to quick glue those down, put the extra supports in, and then yeah, station platforms will be all wrapped up. This is now the finished platforms. All done, all 3 of them. Well, technically all 3 parts of those back ones, and then those 2. So this is now all of the station platforms for Newcastle Central done. I've moved one of the HSTs that's been hanging out in front here just so you can kind of see a little bit more. So I have gone ahead and put in some additional supports there. Still a little unsure what to do here. This is rising up ever so slightly. I'm not sure if that's raised or if that's a little bit too low. What I might do is raise this back section just by 1 millimeter or 2, because you can tell a difference. And then again in the corner, I think I need to shave off just 0.5 millimeter maybe of part of the supports, just because it's in 3 different sections. You can kind of tell where they come together. But I have put additional supports underneath. There's still a little bit of glue drying where I've had to reattach the sheets there. But otherwise it is a lot smoother now. I do have then all of the additional brickwork in place. There was also one section here where I realized that the side wall wasn't done. You might have caught it on the speed motion earlier videos. So if we come around over here, it was this edge piece here on the inside. I had missed somehow, so that is now all done. It's actually a pretty good shot where you can see a little bit more of the station from a different angle. But yeah, in general, I'm pretty happy with how this has all turned out. Really only one thing left to do is to coat everything in a clear sealer. Basically kind of like a matte varnish, just to make sure, because it's going to be out in the shed. Even though I've now insulated the shed a few months ago, there are still going to be humidity and temperature swings out here, so I want to put on clear coat of varnish just to make sure that it kind of seals away any of the moisture on the cardboard and on the paper, and hopefully we don't get too much warping. These are still somewhat loosely in place. You know, this one's not quite perfect. Leaving them until the ballasting is done. I haven't quite figured out if I'm actually going to glue them down or not. Again, because they're card, I'm a little unsure about potentially the 50-50 PVA glue and water mix that would seep into the card, even with sealing it. So I'm not entirely sure if maybe I will glue them down and then just put, paint on almost some of the glue and put ballast on top. I've done that on some of the Engage stuff where I've gotten close into point work. Basically treat it as point work, where you're not just pouring that water and glue mix on. So we'll see, but at least for now, I'm going to call this done. I'm going to call this project done. It's been a long time. I mean, you know, this first platform, I built one entirely, completely had it covered in paper, and then didn't like it, it didn't work out, had to go ahead and completely rebuild that one. The second platform was then a long process as well, because of the length of it. And then, you know, these final ones have then been 3 parts. And a long time, weeks in the making, just on and off with things to do, but again, just the sheer size of them. But now I'm very happy that, you know, I have taken my time, that I did rebuild this one. Didn't get discouraged, and I think there's some good learnings there, is to take your time. Don't be afraid to throw something away and basically start over. Treat it as a learning experience. You know, I think that it's easy to get discouraged in modeling, you know, but try and plan out the best that you can. You know, try and learn from others as well and see how they're doing it. My next part is now figuring out what I'm going to do for station walls and the station canopy, because we're curved, makes it a little bit harder. I think what I'm actually going to do while I try and, you know, think away on that is start to work on some of the detailing, probably on the more the outside of the station. I'm very interested in getting signaling going, so I've actually got quite a few little bits and pieces on order, so I'll be able to do some of the relay boxes, some of the trunking, basically some of the line side equipment that we would have, you know, kind of in and around this area here on the south side of the station, over on the north side of the station again, where you would have all the different signaling and electrical conduits going on. You know, just so I can start adding a little bit of scenery. You know, I find that makes a huge difference, and things are looking a little bit bare, so I would like to get that in place, and I would like to try and get some ballast down as well, so it looks a little bit less bare, while I'm thinking as to how I'm going to be doing the walls and how I'm going to be doing that station canopy, and things like that. So for now, I'm calling this one done. I'll give all the platforms that quick spray with the clear sealer, the matte varnish, to protect it from the moisture, but otherwise calling this one done. So hope you've enjoyed this 3-part, see how all the platforms come together, the process that I go through with the skill scenes kits, and then, you know, a little bit of the scratch building stuff as well. You know, please do subscribe and follow along if you want to see how I now start to move into the detailing. You know, I've got some ideas on signaling, but also be asking for some suggestions as well, because it's a little bit more complicated just because of the sheer number of platforms that I'm working with, and the main lines that I've got. I don't think I can automate some of this, but that's for a future video. So thanks for watching, take care, and we'll be back soon. Bye.